I'm Mark Hunter, the Sales Hunter, and you're listening to the Sales Hunter podcast. Hey, we've all been talking about AI and its role. Let's add crypto into the mix and let's throw this in as a wow, we're all doing this post COVID. I mean, has the world of sales changed? You bet it has. With me today from Singapore, William Gilchrist. We're going to unpack that and more, and the show begins right now.
You're listening to the Sales Hunter podcast with Mark Hunter, where the focus is to help you as a sales leader sell with confidence and integrity. And now here's your host.
I love it when we get to run deep with conversations. So if we're going to go deep, let's go to Asia. Let's go to William Gilchrist in Singapore. Hey, welcome to the show. Thank you for joining me.
Thanks so much for having me, Mark. This is great.
Yeah, let's dive right into it because there's this collision. You know, we came out of COVID and we got this thing called crypto. We got this thing called AI. We got so many factors impacting sales. What are you seeing right now as to what's happening in the sales world?
Well, it's been a very interesting 5 years, right? Getting into COVID, that was kind of the crypto wave. Crypto was the talk of the town. It was every major topic. And then we kind of locked down into this space where we were trying to figure out where businesses were going. People were trying to figure out where their health was going. People were trying to figure out where society was going, politics, whatever. And then as soon as we started to kind of taper out of that, you magically got this thing called AI that suddenly drops right in your lap right after things started to try to be a little bit normal. And one of the things that I've noticed is that that's a 5-year gap in the sales process. If you think about your average sales rep, let's say between the years of 1995 all the way up to, let's say, 2019, there were certain practices and there were certain skill sets you would develop over time to be able to be an adequate salesperson or an adequate hunter, actually. No pun intended. But an actual sales hunter needed practice. You needed to effectively start out by not having many opportunities and going out there and learning your craft of sales. Usually that would take 3 to 5 years. We've been in a black box for the last 5 years, so there's not much new sales talent kind of coming through. And the concept of sales as a result of, the emergence of the crypto thing with COVID and then now AI, now people are trying to find their footing in terms of what sales really means and whether or not AI can take it completely over.
Okay, so what does sales mean in this? And I'm going to say AI 1.0, and we're going to get to AI 8.0, 9.0, 10.0 in just a couple of years. But, we're still in the early stages. What does sales mean?
Within AI or just in general?
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, sales means to AI the same way sales meant something to the telephone, the same way sales meant anything to the billboard, the same way sales meant anything to the email or to Google Ads, digital advertisement. It's a tool. It's something to be able to allow you to maybe cover more surface area, maybe to be, higher in your quality output, and effectively have conversations at scale. Like that's pretty much what AI's role is going to be in the sales world. The problem is that who's actually training AI? It's individuals that probably haven't been selling for as long as some other reps because there's been kind of a gap in the system for a half a decade, which we always tend to forget.
Now, there's a couple of interesting things there, and I love how you described AI as a tool, just like a billboard, just like, anything else out there. And that's cool. I think that kind of stresses us. But then you threw the gauntlet in there that it's just picking up information out there. When does AI, because it is. I mean, all it can work with is information that is already out there.
Correct.
When does AI truly become the central point, or do you ever believe it will become the central point for sales?
Well, imagine if you met a human being whose entire knowledge base and entire understanding of the world is based on 100% what someone else has told them. right? Some other information. Well, there's not much innovation there. There's just calculations based on what's actually available. So is it really artificial intelligence, or is it just a really strong regurgitator, right? Which is fine. It's effective in some areas. It's effective in some, industries. But all in all, there is a bit of a soul component that's missing, that innovation, that new idea, that spark, that internal power source, that being able to make an adjustment based on a gut feeling that's going on in a conversation, not calculating the algorithm of a tone, but really saying, I feel the way this conversation is going, that this person might be more comfortable having conversations in this arena than that arena. It's going to be very difficult for an artificial intelligence to be able to actually do that.
So you really see the salesperson still being an integral part of AI? Because I believe that, but boy, I talked to a lot of salespeople out there, and they're just scared that they're going to be totally replaced.
Well, I'll go deeper. It's not just the salesperson is going to be an integral part of AI. People are going to be an integral part of AI, period. Because at the end of the day, the salesperson is going to have to use it, and the person listening on the other end is also a person, unless you want AI talking to AI, but then that just gives you kind of predictable outcomes and you're not really getting anything fresh and new, right? So yeah, it will still always involve people, and it needs to enhance itself through human involvement, through that soul component, through that internal spark.
So do you see the individual playing a bigger role than in sales, because AI is becoming so big? In other words, this competition, we got to stay equal with it, or no? Sales is always going to be human driven, AI supported. What's your perspective on?
Yeah, I believe that there's no way that AI will be sales driven per se. It can be driven by human thought and strategy, and will need to constantly optimize itself based on new findings and new learnings, and effectively trying to learn how responses are done. But really, the root knowledge is definitely going to be from human experience, and that's what's really going to be key.
Yeah. Now you run a fascinating company, Konsyg, and you provide a tremendous amount of sales services to companies worldwide. What are you hearing from your customers, from your clients?
Well, in terms of AI, people don't really know where to put it. There's plenty of amazing, tools out there, but still the technology needs a lot more optimizations and iterations to be super effective. I don't know if anybody's received a AI call bot, phone call. It's pretty obvious that it's a bot, or the AI presenters. The technology still needs maybe a year or two probably to be a little bit more fluid. So a lot of people don't know what's going to be effective, what is out there, what is available for their particular industries. But all in all, the conversation of sales, not so much, but it would be a nice enhancer so that you have one salesperson being able to do 100 things instead of one, right? They can probably repeat processes, get, proper insights from certain areas faster. That AI is good for. But at the end of the day, the human purchase is an emotional thing. The buyer is an emotional buyer. It's an emotional process, and it's very difficult to have that type of connection with AI.
Yeah. Now, there's a couple of things I want to unpack there, because you just really said something powerful. You see AI being a productivity tool. It's going to increase our productivity. We talk about GDP, gross domestic product of any country, and so forth. And it's really just, derived by the amount of goods and services created by the number of people that are in that country. So AI has the ability to increase GDP. Do you agree with that, or do you disagree with that?
I can use a petri dish example. We in Konsyg, we're heavily leveraging AI, not for the sales, but for information, to be able to calculate information, to be able to get better understandings of things. So with our own personal experience, to be able to enhance our knowledge base and to be able to move quicker in terms of creating materials for sales and getting the right answers and insights. I'm ex-Google, and I would say this is even faster and better than Google could ever imagine. Sorry, guys. But, I would say, yeah. In the event that you're able to use AI to that level, of course, it can enhance GDPs completely.
Yeah, there are a lot of companies out there that are really trying to create the complete AI-driven SDR. They're trying to create. In fact, I had an investor pitch me on this the other day, and they said, "Oh, it's so much more efficient, so much more effective because the AI doesn't quit. The SDR can walk out the door. The account manager can walk out the door, is that a threat, or is that no? That's never going to happen."
Not until we build it. No, I'm kidding.
No, hey, I love your approach. I love it.
Stay tuned. But I think that who built the SDR AI, right? What was their background? 93% of all founders have never seen a sales floor. Most of them never done a cold call. So you can have an engineer build something and have, consultants and individuals giving best practice advice based on blogs and based on what they believe, a good cold call is, or a warm call and best practices. But that's kind of like Googling your symptoms instead of going to an actual doctor who does it every day. Or even more importantly, an ER doctor who probably deals with the worst every minute, right? So there is a large difference in terms of these products that are coming out. Who is actually the knowledge behind it? What's training it? Is it just a regular sales manual? I could send you 150 SDR books and sales books and best practices for cold calls and sales methodologies. That's not going to get you 35 million euro deals in the door, right?
Okay.
That's the difference.
Hey, I love that, because the whole thing, if all it took was for us to watch a video, read a book, or go to some meeting, we would all be rich, skinny, and happy.
Right.
But it's just not happening. It's just not happening. So you're right. But this is still a fear out there that I see in the sales community. Now, you made the comment in your company, because you work with a tremendous number of clients in a wide range of industries, and you use AI. Would you mind sharing a couple examples as to how you use AI within your company to help you develop better solutions?
Absolutely. Being able to leverage a competitive analysis to be able to get complex technologies pretty much drilled down to a point to where we can understand what the value propositions are. What I like to say is translating engineer speak into sales speak, right? Because we get a lot of very complex technologies, and they believe that having highly technical conversations on a sales kind of run is the way to do it. But most people don't really care about the technology itself. They care about the value proposition and why it would matter to them. So a lot of times we need to use a lot of AI to be able to kind of break down really complex tech, bringing it into clear value propositions, but also at the same time inserting some of the complex technical frameworks in the conversation to be able to seem more like specialists. So that's definitely one from a knowledge base. Another one is just scaling our ability to be able to understand the market. AI has been able to assist us in uncovering a lot of new potential end users that we wouldn't have thought about, new industries, new angles. It really has enhanced our way of thinking to be able to see things a lot more broadly, and we've seen a lot of benefit from that.
Oh, something that just struck me as to what you were saying there. It feels like salespeople have always been so focused on the features, the product features, and not on the benefits. And it feels like AI, because it's going to be able to give us industry knowledge, it's going to be able to give us insights on the customer, it's going to be able to give us so much more, that maybe, just maybe, AI will help the sales community turn the corner and become truly benefit focused.
If they want to do it, I mean, how many salespeople are trained that way? And it's very addictive to be features and benefits, right?
Yeah.
It's very addictive to talk about the anti-lock brakes and the airbags and the radio and the amazing engine within a Mini Cooper while you're selling it to a guy my size. That doesn't make sense. I would never be in a Mini Cooper. I can barely fit in a Mini Cooper. But someone will be so focused on the features and benefits, they're not looking at the context. And that in itself is where a lot of salespeople fail. So you might be able to give them these benefits, but the features are so much more addictive and enticing for them to use that as part of their sales kind of weaponry.
Okay, so you just talked me out of fantasy land where I thought
Yeah,
that maybe, just maybe, salespeople were going to get good, and you just talked me out of it. So, man, I just,
I might sound jaded because I've been in this trade for so long. I'm just like, oh.
Well, yes, well, it is, and this is what's key, because one of the things that I see, and we go back to talking about COVID and talking about crypto and so forth. The turnover in the sales community is absolutely massive. So people like yourself, people like you who have been around a while, you do kind of see that I've seen this horse race before. I've seen where this goes. So let's begin to shift this conversation, and I want to come back to crypto. Where do you feel crypto fits, or does it fit into the sales process, into the AI world?
Well, I believe that the crypto conversation was one of the many trends similar to the AI trend, right? But I feel like the barrier of entry of understanding what AI is and how to use it, it was a little bit easier than crypto. Crypto, you kind of had to study it. You almost needed to become a new economist, right? Like you had to really like a foreign X trader type person in order to really get into crypto. And I have tons of close friends of mine that are heavily in the crypto world. We've even worked with crypto companies before. But I do think that those two conversations are linked in terms of popularity and trends, but totally separate in terms of the audience. And the AI audience is just way broader. Where I feel like the crypto audience, those who were not too familiar with crypto kind of saw it as a get rich quick scheme. So I think that actually led to a lot of low grade salespeople, right? Individuals who were selling crypto benefits into the market because it was popular, because you could get a get rich quick scenario. Oh, if you just have this, sit on it for a year and suddenly you're worth $20 million or something like that. Like that's what was going on 2018, 2019 kind of range. AI is not doing that, but I do think that the crypto world there was a really high barrier of entry, which led to sales practices that were hard to really wrap your head around a lot of times.
I'm sensing and I'm seeing that the person who can understand crypto can understand how to utilize AI that much faster. Because again, understanding crypto, you got to kind of be thinking on a different level. But what concerns me is just what you described. There was a little bit of that get rich quick thing. And I'm seeing people attempting to use AI in that same manner. They're going to try to come up with some quick tools that this is going to allow me to sell in mass. This is going to allow me to sell this. This is going to allow me to do this. And I think that's a false narrative. And it's only going to get people into trouble. But again, I'm going to come back because you lead a great company, Konsyg, and the clients that you work with. Is there a universal attitude or feeling when it comes to AI that you see globally? Because you get to work with companies around the world.
I think that the universal kind of feeling that I've seen so far has been, this is going to be a limitless platform to be able to allow us to do things way beyond our reach, right? I agree that that might be the end result, but I think that maybe how companies are looking to kind of throw things into AI without looking at what it's creating. I mean, let's just use a chat GPT, for example. How many emails have you gotten today that starts with, I hope this email finds you well?
Oh,
Right?
yeah, please.
It's a clear tell. Right. It's a clear tell. Robust, ever evolving landscape. I mean, these phrases, we're noticing that this is a trend in ChatGPT. Yet, significant amounts of companies aren't even thinking about it. They're just literally throwing the words out there and really not looking at what it's doing. And I see that being kind of like a small example of what we're seeing a lot of companies. They're saying, oh, this is going to solve all our problems. And because I see words on a page, or because I see a chart on a deck, or because I have gotten an answer from ChatGPT that I now don't need to think, or from AI, I now don't need to innovate. I am seeing a lot of that now, but I think that's going to balance itself out as we start to get more innovative people into it.
Good, good. I sure hope so. Hey, we got to wrap this up in a bit, but I
Well,
mentioned the word Konsyg a few times. So
yeah.
tell the audience, what is this company that you lead? Because you're doing some cool stuff out there.
Well, everything you guys just heard is our passion, which is talking about tech, which is talking about the challenges in the sales world. We are a end-to-end sales mercenary group. We've been around 8 years. We do sales as a service. We love calling ourselves sales mercenaries, where we do revenue generation globally. We have 14 offices around the world, and we operate on a 24/7 basis to be your on-demand sales team. But as you can see, based on its CEO and founder, me, I'm a complete sales nerd. So I can talk about crypto, AI all day. We don't just have to use our service, but that's what we do.
And you're not a bot. You are a human being. I'm looking, talking, touching. Yeah, I'm not touching you, but
Yes,
yeah.
you don't know. It could be a bot. It could be
Yeah.
a really nicely trained Konsyg bot. So you don't know. It could be funny.
I don't think so. I
Could be.
think you're right there. I think you're right there.
Cool.
So anyway. Hey, I want to say thank you for being on the show, because you shed some light. You got some people thinking regarding AI and regarding, hey, how do people find out about Konsyg? Where should
You
they
can
go?
go. You can go to our website, konsyg.com. If you actually want to talk to me directly, it's really funny because I make sure to talk, no matter how big the company has gotten, I make sure to talk to the first person who always books us. So konsyg.com. If you go to contact us and you literally book a time, I will be there. And that's something that I've been really proud of over the last 8 years.
And that's cool. And that's not bot driven. Hey, with that, we want to say thank you for listening to the Sales Hunter podcast. What is it? It's 2 episodes a week. One, a longer, deep dive with a subject matter expert like we've had here today with William. Second episode, single topic, short, just from me. Hey, what is the podcast about? It's about helping you see and achieve what you didn't think was possible so that you can help others do the same. Hey, I'm Mark Hunter, the Sales Hunter. Leave us a review on your favorite podcast app. Thanks so much. Great selling.